Hello, guys.
Sorry. Can I disturb?
My name is Desmond.
Exactly.
And I welcome you to my lesson for today, where we'll be looking at mathematics. As you can see over there, we'll be doing functions in today's lesson. So, ladies and gentlemen, please do allow me to say it is very much important that I say it is very, very much important because Hamiso, what I'm about to say is massively. Hey, massively important, ladies and gentlemen, that I say a day without learning something new, it's a day wasted. Mzozozo. By so saying, please, doomsa the doomsa. Please. Mukrocodile. Please do make sure that by the end of each and every lesson that I conduct, no longer the user. Please do make sure that you learn something new. Why do you have to learn something new? It's because a day without learning something new, it's a day wasted. Okay, so we are given a statement followed by the graphs, of which I'm going to do an interpretation of what we are given before we get onto the questions. I'm not sure. Before I continue, I think someone wanted to ask a question or make a comment. Hamisa, did you want to interrupt? What did you want to say, Dobo?
Your volume is low. Can you please raise it or something? Because I can't hear properly.
Oh, is it raining on your side?
Yes.
Okay. Let me try to check. Lerat, can you clearly hear me? Or is it low? Kulikuli, kiakwala ko.
I can hear you.
Mukrocodile. Waunko koko koni. Wow. Hami, sir, let me just say, because this lesson is being recorded, you will have access to catch up on this lesson. But one thing for sure, I will try to speak a bit louder. Okay, this is the information that we are given. The sketch below. This is the sketch that they are referring to. Remember, this question paper was sent in the group. The sketch below represents the graphs of two parabolas, or otherwise parabola, F and G. So we are given two parabolas, F and G. F of x is equals to half x squared minus 8. Where is F? Oh, there's F. And can you see we've got a positive A value? That is why we are having a smiling shape, which means this one we already have a negative A value because of that shape being that of a sad shape. The turning point of G is point C, having the coordinates 2 and 9. And the y-intercept of G is at point A, where you have your x being 0 and your y being 5. B and D are the x-intercepts of F and G, respectively. Where is F? No, B. Oh, there's B and there's D. Sure, there's something tricky about those two, and I can sense a very nice question coming. Okay, it seems like all that is given in the statement is represented graphically over there. You just need to be aware that Mzozozo, we have what we call a Cartesian plane, and on a Cartesian plane we draw functions. So we have two types, not necessarily two types, but one type being a parabola. So we have two functions of parabola over there. There is our Cartesian plane having the x and the y axis, and there we've got the origin. This is the turning point of the graph of G, and this is the turning point of the graph of F, and we have that point being the x-intercept of F, and that point being the x-intercept of G. Remember, the word intercept simply refers to a point where something touches the other thing. So we say the x-intercept of what is it? F is B. So where F touches the x-axis, that point we call it the x-intercept, which is named B. So I'm not sure. Before I start answering the questions, is there someone who's got a question, a comment, or anything in relation to what I've explained up to this point? Anyone? No longer the user. Are we still on the same page?
Yes.
Hey.
What was your question?
Yebo, what is the question, Kuli Kuli?
So I was asking what you were saying. I couldn't hear that properly.
Oh, you're saying you don't have a question. Are you saying you don't have a question, the coolies?
No, so I was asking
Doomsday
what
Q.
you were saying. If you were what
Oh,
you were
okay,
saying,
no,
because
I
I did not
see.
hear that properly.
Okay, no, I see. Doomsday Q. Are we still together there? Okay. Question 6.1, which is allocated 4 marks, says show that g of x is equals to negative x squared plus 4x plus 5. So we need to show that g of x is actually equals to negative x squared plus 4x plus 5. G of x is equals to that. Okay, that's what we need to show. Remember, guys, as far as a parabola is concerned, always when you have the turning point, think of this formula Bantu Bakit. Y is equals to a into x plus sure. Load shedding Bantu Bakit. I'm just not sure if you are now able to hear me and also if you are able to see over there. Can somebody confirm if you can see and hear me?
Yes, I can see and hear. I can't hear you properly.
Yes, I can see and hear you.
Okay. Let me just quickly check if the lesson is still recording. Yes, still recording. So for those of you guys who are not able to clearly hear me, and again for those who are not able to continue with the lesson because of load shedding, then I'll make sure to make this lesson available online so that you guys can catch up. Okay, so Mzozozo, this is what I was saying to say. The moment you start having the TP, the turning points, you need to always remember this formula. It might be useful in you answering some questions. So, now that we have the turning points, remember P, it is actually the X value, and then Q, it is the Y value at the turning point. What you then need, it is the A value. Once you have the A value, you can therefore break down all of that to rewrite it in that format. Let's try and see how far we can go with that. Okay, Y is equals to A into X. Let me do this and say plus. What is the X value of our turning point? The X value is 2 and the Y value is 9. This is what I wanted to ask. Do I substitute negative 2 in there, or do I substitute plus 2? Can someone tell what am I substituting in there? Hey, why is it like it's silence in court? Bantu
2.
bagit. Positive 2. Is it positive 2 or negative 2? So that is
It's
actually my
positive
question to
2.
say.
Positive.
Who's It's Hamisa. Do you
Huh.
guys agree with Hamisa on that one?
Yes, I agree with her.
Okay. Millicent says she agrees with her. Let's substitute positive 2 and see how far we can go with that. Okay. No longer the Hamisa. The reason why I asked
I agree.
that question, it was because no, wait. Why did I ask that question? I don't know why I asked that question. Ek weet nie why ek ask daai kwessie. Ek weet nie. Okay. What we know, Mzozozo, is that P, it is the X value, and then Q, it is the Y value. So can you see we substituted our P and Q. So we just need 1 point, just 1 point on that graph of G. Can you see? We have that point there of point A where x is 0 and that is 5. Then we can substitute those values into this formula so that we can calculate the A value. So what is Y? Y is 5. It's equals to A into x is 0 plus 2 squared plus 9. Okay, let's see. We have 5 on the left. Here, this plus that is just 2. 2 squared is 4. So it's more like we have 4a. Maybe let's take this to the other side. And then it becomes 5 minus 9. So what is 5 minus 9, Bantubagiti? Is that not negative 4? I think it's negative 4. So it's more like we have negative 4 being equals to 4a. So we can just divide by 4, deliberately by 4 so that it cancels. Then we have our a value being equals to negative 1, which means, as you continue, which means we have our y being equals to negative invisible 1 into x. You guys said is 2 there, then is 2 squared plus 9. So all that we need to do, Mzozo, is just to expand this and write it in that format. Let's see how far we can go with that. Maybe you might notice why I asked if it's 2 or positive 2. No, negative 2 or positive 2. Let's see. Okay. So we have negative into. This is how you do it. This means 2 of the same thing. So we have 2 of the same thing, but remember that 9, because all that you did was just to expand that. So you say this by that, that by that, this by that, that by that. You end up having negative into x squared plus that by that. 2x plus 2x is 4x, that we know. 2 times 2 is equals to what? Is equals to 4. But remember that 9 always. Then it's only now when you can say that by that, that by that, and that by that. You end up having negative x squared minus 4x. That by that is minus 4. And then you have plus 9 being equals to. This is negative x squared. What is that? It's negative 4x. What is that? I think this is plus 5. So did we correctly prove that that is equals to that, or is there some way we got it wrong? Is this thing the same as that?
Yes,
No, sorry, it's not. It's not the same.
Someone is
sister.
saying yes, someone is saying no. Which one is which one to get?
So final answer e re fetsang go e dira no. Mo coefficient ya 4x ke minus and then e la ba reng re prove gore ke yone sign ya ona ke plus. So ora gore mona ne santse re re negative 2.
Yes. I'm sure you guys learned something out of that. That is the reason why I was asking there. If we substitute a negative or a positive, remember Hamisa, if you are given, just as an example, y is equals to, let's say, 2 into x minus, let me just say 3 squared plus 4. So, Zozozo, if they say, given that as an equation, and they say, what are the values of the turning points? You remember, you say TP into, you take this one exactly as it is, being positive 4. But this one, you need to equate it to 0 and say x minus x, x minus 3 is equals to 0, then x is equals to positive 3, meaning the turning point is positive 3. You take it with the opposite sign. So the same thing applies here, Bantubakit. The same thing applies there. If you are given the turning point as 2 and 9, that means that 2, when you substitute inside that, you substitute it as the opposite sign. So that means you have negative 2 in there, but the 9, you take it as it is. Does it make sense now?
May I ask why? Why do you do that?
Okay, but do you know that, Hamisur, if you are given a do you know that if you are given, for example, y is equals to a into x plus 4 close squared maybe plus 1, no, let me say negative 1. You tell me, Hamisa, how do you get the turning points of that equation?
You just take the number representing P and the one representing Q. That's all I know.
Okay, which one represents a P?
4.
It's 4, but do you take it as 4 or as the opposite sign?
I mean, I must code. You just take the number and you apply it as it is. You don't change it and stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, I see. So, Hamisa, just make sure that you don't take it as it is. Make sure tomorrow to confirm with your teacher to say, do we really take it as it is, or we take it with its opposite sign? So you don't take it as it is. You equate that to 0 and say x plus 4 is equals to 0. Then you solve for x, where you transpose, and then x is equals to negative 4. So this is how you get the x value at the turning point. You solve it, Hamisa. You solve it. And then now, when it comes to the y value of the turning point, you take that as it is, being your q. So this is the process that you follow when you are given an equation and they say give the values of the turning point. So in this case, Hamisa, in that case, we are given the values of the turning point, TP being equals to 2 and 9. What we know is that the y, we take it as it is, but the x value, for it to be 2, it came from x plus p. It is now already equals to what? Equals to 2. Can you see? So that means, wait, let me just check if I'm doing it correctly. I think it has to be x being 2 plus what is it? P being equals to 0. Let me just make sure there. No. There's some. We are just trying to do a reverse of what we would do if we were given that. So it's more like if we were given x and then plus by p, this is equals to, I think is 2 there. Let me just quickly try to check something, Hamisa. I want to see if I can answer your question of how, but I know someone noticed what I'm trying to do. If we were given x minus 2, we would equate it to 0. Yes, maybe here I must say we are actually given x, that you must plus it with p being 2, and then it must be equated to 0. Yes, I think I've formulated it correctly. So now you are having x, which is equals to negative 2. Sure. But wait, Lerato, how am I going to answer that question of how do I get that negative 2? It seems like this explanation is dribbling me. But wait, Hamisa, do you understand what I'm trying to do there? Or did I lose you completely?
I'm stuck in between. Yeah.
Okay, it's fine. Maybe for now, let me just make it simple. I'll at a later stage try to work it out and explain. So it's more like I'm just trying to do a reverse of this. If you were given something similar to this, Hamisa, and you want the values of the turning points, you're just going to say x minus 2, which is that inside, and then you just equate it to 0, then you solve for x. Then that means you transpose, and then your x is equals to 2. Then this is the x value of your turning point, which is p. Yes. So it's more like we're saying p minus 2 is equals to 0. Then you transpose, and then your p is equals to 2. Yes, now I think I'm explaining it better. So now there we are given p being 2. Yes, we are given p being 2. Then you need to transpose in order to get the value inside the brackets. But what I wanted to say in short is that whatever the TP values that you are given, it could be negative 1 over 2 and 4. What I'm saying is the x value, when you write it inside the brackets, you always write it in the opposite sign. The signs that you can have in there, it's either is positive or minus. That's it. And then if you are given turning point which is negative, then inside the brackets you write it as positive half. If you are given it as negative 4, inside the brackets you write it as positive 4. If you are given the turning point as 8, inside the brackets you write it as negative 4. That's how simple I can explain it, Hamisa. So let's try to check if it will give us the correct answer. Can you see, instead of us substituting it as positive, we substitute it as negative. So let's see. We are saying at point A, which is 0 and 5. I'm just going to be quick on this one because we've done it already. It's just a matter of trying to check if it will give us the correct answer. So now, wait, why is it like I'm now rushing? It has to be x. What is x? When 5 is when y is 5, x is 0, so it has to be 0 there plus 9. And then still this is 4. We can transpose, then we have 5 minus 9 is equals to 4a, because what is it? 0 minus 2, it's negative 2. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. That is why I'm having 4a there. And then 5 minus 9, it's equals to negative 4, which is equals to 4a. And then we saw that a is equals to negative 1. Okay. Now that we know that our a is equals to negative 1, then it's negative invisible 1 into x. We said that we write as the opposite sign plus 9. Then we end up having y is equals to negative into 2 of the same thing plus 9. We have x, okay, minus 2, same thing. And then we do that by that. Then we end up having x squared. That by that is negative 4, negative 2 is negative 4. X, that by that is positive 4. Remember, you still have that 9 being equals 2. Then you say that by that. You end up having negative that plus 4x. That by that is negative 4 plus 9. And then you have negative x squared. This is plus 4x. What is that? That is plus 5. Can you see? It is very, very dangerous, guys, to just take the x value of the turning point as it is. Please, Hamisa, please do make sure to consult with your teacher and just verify that, and also confirm if you need to take it as it is, or otherwise take it in the opposite sign. Then tomorrow, or whenever you've consulted with your teacher, just let me know so that we are all on the same page, just to avoid a situation, Hamisa, where the teacher says take it as it is, and I'm saying take it with the opposite sign, and it causes some complications in your exams. Just make sure of that, Hamisa, and everyone else, because I noticed almost all of you guys, you did indicate that you take it as the same sign. So that was the reason why I had to ask you, because I know most of you guys do a mistake on that part of taking it as it is. Otherwise, did you guys understand that question, or am I losing some of you on that one?
I understand.
Okay. So let me remove all of that as we move on to the next question. So by so doing, that's how you score yourself a, what is it? I think it's 4 marks. Yes. Can someone read for us the second question? My other device is locked and I'm trying to
Calculate the average gradient of G between A
yes.
and C.
The average gradient. Before I even go far, I just know that there's the formula which says M, and I think this sign means average. So the average gradient between A and C, there is C and there is A. The reason why they had to say average, it's because between A and C, you are not having a straight line, but you are having that in that shape. Let's say this is A and this is B. Can you see them also that this is not a straight line? It's a part of parabola which is a curving there. So a straight line would be a point from there up to there. Can you see? So this straight line therefore represents an average gradient between this point A and that point C. So that is why they had to mention to say average gradient. So don't get confused and ask yourself, what exactly is average gradient? You do know that a gradient is change in y over change in x, but there it's not really the 100% gradient, but it's just an average between these 2 points. So you just calculated the normal way, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Let me leave this one to you guys to work it out and tell me what answer are you getting there.
2.
Someone said 2. Is it everyone who's getting the same answer?
Yes, there is 2.
Yes. My young sisters are also voting on that one. The answer is 2. Okay, the next question. What is examiner saying there on the next question?
Calculate the length of BD.
Calculate the length of BD. Yo. Is there someone who can suggest how can we approach that one? Community members, sizoyixazulula kanjani le ndaba le? Nontokozo, njengomphathi waleli bandla le, sizoyixazulula kanjani le ndaba le?
I have no idea, but I'm still trying to work it out.
Usayicabanga? Okay. Mzozozo, awufuni ukuthi ukhulume kancane uthethe nelibandla lakaNkulunkulu.
No,
Obakhuthaze.
I distance formula. I'm not sure, sir.
Awusho ne. Crocodile. Ngona bomma.
It's
You sure?
he confused nyana.
Oh yeah.
Say,
You dear obe tisinyana so.
say,
Okay. Yebo.
I think, say, ne? And get it like they told us for a BD, get the x-intercept of F. Ne? So we're gonna use that formula, yeah. Y is equals to, I could say A into X minus X1, then X minus X2. Then let's say we're gonna use that, yeah, yeah, F of X, say. Yes, say.
Yes. Sizoyisebenzisa kanjani? Tamatumzini. You are getting closer. Manje sizoyisebenzisa kanjani? Okay. Awuthi ngiyithathe lapho. So, bantu bakithi, very, very much important that you remember that the equation of G, we were just given as negative that plus 4x plus 5. What about the equation of F? We also know this one from the statement. They said it's equals to half x squared minus 8. And we know, Bantu Bakiti, that this point and that point, these are the x-intercepts of F. Also, this point and that point are the x-intercepts of G. How about we use this and that to find the x-intercepts, and then from those two values of the x-intercepts, we'll know which one is for that point and which one is for that point. Obviously, the negative one is going to be for that, the positive for that. The negative for that, the positive for that. Then we know that if here, for example, is negative 6, then that means from the origin to there is 6 units. Then if we know that is 10, then we know from the origin to there is 10 units. Then it's going to be 6 units plus 10 units. That's how you therefore determine the length of BD. Mzozozo, you are correct in saying what comes to mind is the distance formula. You can still use the distance formula if you know this point and that point. And for you to know those points, that's when you calculate the coordinates. Then you can still do an extra work by using the distance formula. But if you know that along the axis, you can just take the values as they are and you sum them together, that will give you the distance. Okay, maybe let's try to find the x-intercepts of that one of F. We know that at the x-intercepts, that's where y is equals to 0. So that means we are having a half x squared minus 8 being equals to 0. Then we just solve. Maybe we can transpose. Then we have half x squared, which is equals to positive 8. Then maybe if we divide by half on both sides, that cancels that, that cancels that. I think 8 divided by half is 16, which means we have x, we just introduce a square root on both sides. That means we just have x which is equals to plus or minus 4, meaning here this is actually negative 4 and this one is positive 4. So can you see, we already know that from the origin all the way up to B, it's actually 4 units. So let's try to find out from the origin also to there. How are we going to do that? Then we use that formula for that, meaning y is equals to negative x squared minus 4x plus 5. Remember, that's where y is equals to 0. So we can just say the whole of that just equated to 0. Then let's try to write it in the standard form. We just change the sign of every term. Where we see minus, we put a plus. Where we put a plus, where we see a plus, we put a minus. So can you see? It's now in the standard form. It's just a matter of us factorizing. So we know we have xx. We can say we have 5 and y. The bigger number takes the sign of the middle term. Middle term is positive. And then, sorry, that is negative. This equals to 0, you end up having x being equals to positive. Hey. Did I not make a mistake somewhere there? Let me quickly see. I suspect I made a mistake. Yes. Where is my mistake?
Say it's negative 5. Okay.
Hey. Wait, guys.
So the equation should be x squared minus 4x minus 5, not positive 4.
Wait. Why am I not seeing my mistake? But I also don't understand you, the Doomsa. But best thing, let me start it, because it has to make sense to me. But to bag it, we are saying negative x squared minus 4x plus 5 is equals to 0. Nay. Then we change the sign
No,
of every term.
it's positive 4.
Oh,
It's positive 4.
Yes. Then here we end up having a minus 4 minus 5 equals to 0. X. Then here we know we have 5 and 4. No, 1. Yeah, it has to be 1. Then we say the bigger number takes the sign of the middle term being negative. And then for us to have negative 5, we have that. Yes. Now it feels correct. Or x is equals to 5. Remember, you equate this to 0, you solve for x, you equate that to 0, you solve for x. Meaning, let's see, this is the point which is negative 1, but we are not interested on that value. This is the one that we are interested in, that one being 5 over there. So this one, we're not really interested into that. So that means from the origin to there, it's actually 5 units. So that means BD is equals to 4 plus 5, which is equals to 9 units. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Umphathi waleli bandla le uyayibona lento le ukuthi siyenza kanjani? Non-T.
Understand?
Is it everyone who understand it? Dumza, is this what you were saying, Ntombo?
Yes, sir.
To make a tie orange, ka cho, ke sky, no, ke gray le sky blue, ka hempe white. Agree, Dumza? Hey, Muchabile. Hamisor, are you happy there? Do you allow me to move on to the next question? I was just giving you guys some time to process this. I'm not sure also if you've got any question on that one.
Question.
I
D
don't have a
is
question.
equal to 4 plus 5. Why did you add them up?
Okay, we added them because they want to know how long is it from this point to that point. So you are there, Hamisa, at your house. You walk 4 units to get to the clinic. You walk another 5 units to get to school. So that means the total length from that point to that point is 9 units. Remember, everything is measured from the origin. So if that point, Hamisa, it's 0 and 5. That 5 means from there to there, it's 5 units. The distance from there to there, it's 5. If here is 4, it means the distance from there to there, it is 4. I'm not sure if you now get it, Hamisa.
Okay, I think I asked the wrong question. My question
Mm.
is actually, what about the negative numbers? Because it's x is equal to -1 or x is equal to -4. Yet you took the positive ones. Why?
Okay. So, I didn't take the positive 4 name. I took the length from the origin to that point. The negative, remember, it tells you the direction, Hamisa. There's nothing called -4. Okay, it's there. But let me just quickly explain something. I hope all of you guys were doing physical sciences. You also get direction is represented by the sign. That's it. If you travel positive 4 kilometers, Hamisa, it means you may be traveled towards the right or upwards. If you travel -4 kilometers, it doesn't mean because it's negative then you did not go anywhere. It means you traveled 4 kilometers maybe towards the west or towards the south. So for someone who comes from the west, let's say Pretoria West, and then they drive towards Pretoria East, they are going to pass the CBD and then travel another distance to get to Pretoria East. So the central is actually the center of the city. So if you go in that direction, this is where you go to Kulikuli in Pretoria North. Otherwise, if you go there, you are therefore going to Pretoria South. So for someone who comes from this side, being the negative maybe 5 kilometer, they pass through the CBD, which is at the center, at the origin, and then they pass again to the eastern side. If we ask how long did this person travel, you can't say because you have the negative there and then you say they traveled -5 plus 5, which is equals to 0. If it's 0, it's more like they did not go anywhere. They were just there. So in mathematics, when you talk about the distance, it is never in the negative. We never consider that negative because the negative actually tells more about the direction or the position on which side of that Cartesian plane is that 4 value. Can you see? I'm not sure, Hamisa, if you now have a better understanding based on what I've just explained.
Yes,
So I
for
did
me
not
now.
take the positive 4 value. Yes, that's what I wanted to make clear. Mzozozo, did you say you wanted clarity on that one, or you said you will catch up? What did you say there?
I said it's clear, sir. I got it.
Oh, okay. If Shreyas was here, I was going to say you get it. If you don't get it, he was going to say forget about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just got an approval that I can move on to the next question, which says use the graphs to solve for x if f of x is greater or equals to 0. This type of questions are a bit tricky, guys. They are allocated less marks, but I'm telling you, they can make you sweat. And it's never easy to explain this type of questions because they really depend on the level of your understanding of functions. If you don't fully understand the functions, you won't easily understand what gaan aan hier so. But what they are saying there is that give us the x values whereby f of x is either greater or equals to 0. What you need to do, forget about g and focus on f of x. Can you see? There is f of x. On a Cartesian plane, there is f of x. At which x values are you having your f of x either equals to 0? Let's start with equals to 0. Because this sign, it means greater or equals to. So we'll get to greater, but for now, let's consider equals to. At which points are we having our f of x being equals to 0? Is it not at this point, Bantubakit, where x is -4, and also there where x is equals to what? +4. You remember we calculated those from the previous question. So already we notice that at where x is equals to -4, and also at where x is equals to 4. That's when we have our f of x being equals to 0. But now we also need to get to greater than. That's where we need to now use that sign. So from what I notice is that from that -4, from that -4 going towards this side of the x values, that's where you have f of x being greater than 0. The other way in which you can test that, from that equation of f of x, remember they are saying where f of x is greater than 0. The equation of f of x, let me check, is half x squared minus 8. This is f of x. They're asking for which values of x are you having that greater than 0. Try to substitute any x value from -4 in that direction. It could be -5, -6, -7, and whatever, and check if you get x value which is greater than 0. If it does give you greater than 0, then it means where x is -4 or otherwise less than, that's where you have your x values being greater than 0. You also do the same. Already we know that at where x is equals to 4, that's where f of x is equals to 0. So that means when you substitute -4 there, you must get 0. Again, when you substitute +4 there, you must still get 0. But this sign, it means they want the x values whereby it is either greater or equals to 0. Already we know that at -4 and 4, it's equals to 0. But now, again, at which x values are we still having f of x being greater than 0? From that +4, bantu bakithi, from that +4, all the x values in that direction, they will give you a value which is greater than 0. So that is why I'm going to say where x it's either is 4 or otherwise greater than 4, that's where you're going to get a f of x being greater or equals to 0. For example, if you punch maybe 5, 6, 7, a million or whatever, as long as you punch a positive value but greater than 4 there, it will give you a value which is either 0 or greater than 0. It's a bit tricky, it's a bit tricky, but only if you have a better understanding of the functions, that's when it's going to make sense. I'll give an example again. The other way in which you can notice it is that, can you see from there, you are actually going towards the right side of the x-axis. And from that point above, this is where f of x is actually greater than 0. Sure. Yeah, no, it's a bit tricky to explain this. But what I can advise you to do is to try and substitute the x values on this side, in between, and also on this side. That's when you're going to be able to tell where this statement is true. Then where it is true, that's when you write those. I'm not sure. Crocodile, did I not try to explain it better there? Or am I still losing you with that explanation? Because I think that's how simple I can try and explain it, Bantu Bagiti. Hamisur. Hey, Crocodile. Gano ka re wa seba na o tšhaba go rasetša bomma ba rubetše.
Awa, ke re o itlhalositse bokaone ka re mo ankere ba nyaka value e leng gore e lekana le goba e feta 0.
Yes.
So
Yes.
e re substitute -4 mo the original re tsentšha -4 le di-number tse di yang kwa bo -5 le 6 di greater than 0, and then le re tsentšha 4 e leng positive le tse di yang kwa di leng positive di ba greater than 0.
Why one? Nonti o ka re ka Limpopo e kwaetša ke tsebo gore lena ba o dula maboneng le bona jwang. Ba dithae orange le bona jwang ka moo?
So you can understand.
Hamisur, angazi ukuthi wena uyibona kanjani. Nonthi ebekhe Diyokweni, hey Diyokweni, uthulile lapho, awukhulumi kancane, uthi uyayibona lento le or ufuna ukuthi siqasulule or siqhasa.
Angiya-understand ngapha Mhlonishwa.
Unomzana Dumza uthi uyayibona. Angazi Mzozozo ukuthi uyangivumela noma cha ukuthi ngitshambele to the next question.
Ukudlula sidlula.
Or ngajamba ne. I think Mzozozo uvumile bantu bakithi. Ngicabanga ukuthi uMzozozo uvumile. Hey, here's another one. There's no way examiner is going to leave you without asking you this type of questions. And the only way in which you can learn, that's when you see me or otherwise your teacher answering those questions. So can you see? This one says use the graphs. They say use the graph. Hey, you'll see someone taking a calculator. Hammering it's equals to the. You won't get anything out of a calculator. Bantu bakiti. Nonti. They say use the graphs to solve for x. If f and g are both strictly increasing. You. Firstly, you need to know how does an increasing function look like. I think I did explain yesterday to say we always draw functions from left to right. Let me draw this from left to right. So can you see this is the function decreasing, it makes a U-turn. And then this is now the TP. It starts to increase. So I've just drawn that one. Let me now draw this one. But remember, we are having a Cartesian plane there and there. So let's draw the graph of G. Crocodile from the left towards the right. Can you see what it does? Increasing. Now is the turning point. Decreasing up to infinity. That's what the arrows means. It continues. Koring ephela buphelo obusafeli. Iphila impilo ezingaphelelanga. Hey, ungizwe lokuthi ngithini? Awuzibone ke. Bantu bakithi kusho ukuthi they want us to tell at which x values are we having both f and g increasing. I just know that for this graph of f, where does it start to increase? Bantu bakithi? Can someone try to tell me? I'm going to help you answer this question through these questions. At which point are we having the graph of f increasing or starting to increase?
At the turning point, I think.
Yes, you are correct. At
Turning
the
point.
turning point, which is that point there. Remember, they want us to give the x values. Do we know the x value at that point? First thing first. Do we know the x value at that point?
0.
Yes. It's 0. Someone wanted to say 0, but they are not confident. We're not talking about the y value, but the x value. We know it is 0. Okay. At which point are we having the graph of G increasing? From which point up to which point? Or what can you say about G?
So the graph of G is increasing from classes going up. Say like if you take 5, then until the turning point.
Yes. What Tumsa is saying there is that the graph of G, it starts to increase from this direction up to infinity there. It comes from there, increasing up to that point there. This is where it changes direction and then it starts to decrease. So, again, do we know the x value there, Bantu Bakit? Do we know the x value there? There.
Yes, it's true.
Yes. The x value there is 2. You remember, it was given there to say at the TP of G, the x value is 2. So, this is where you now need to be creative. At which points are we having this graph of G and this graph of F increasing? I did explain where a function starts to increase and decrease. At which 2 points are we having the graph of F and G both increasing? Can someone guess that one or give an answer to that one?
Both of them
Hmm?
increasing at the same time isn't point the 0 point. Yeah, that's the only point I see.
Wait, Hamisa, can you say that again? What did you say there?
You're asking where they both increase, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only point I see where they both increase is at 0.
Sure. You know, at 0, okay, Hamisa, at 0, this point here, nothing is increasing, nothing is decreasing there. This is the turning point, meaning this is a point where the function changes direction. So that means from there, it's decreasing up to that point, and then it changes direction, increasing. Let me give it to you as an answer. You will then notice something. Guys, let's look between this point. Listen very carefully. I'm saying between this point, between this point and also that point. Mo crocodile, koring o e lebelle, o be o e lebelle dishishi. between this point and also that point.
Ke re nna nkare both the graph of f and g start from and to the turning point. Because L I get it. Yeah, f of x. It thoma go increase mo turning point. And then g of x e feletsa go increase ko turning point, then from there decrease.
Okay, let me continue to explain what I was saying. You tell me if what I'm saying is what you are saying, honorable member. So I was about to say, between this point and that point, I'm seeing both of the functions strictly increasing. Remember, we know that line, that's where x is 2. We know from the turning points there that the x value is 2, meaning the x value there is 2. So can you guys see that from this point up to that point there, the graph of f, the graph of f is increasing from there to there. At the same time, from there, 0, from that 0, remember, even there, the x value is 0. From there to there, even the graph of g is increasing. But if you pass that point, you will notice that g is now decreasing and then f is now increasing, which is not what they are looking for. They want where both of them are strictly increasing. On this side, you will realize that f is increasing, or otherwise f is decreasing, and then this one is also decreasing. So it doesn't matter whether you interpret it as from there to there increasing, then decreasing. But what matters the most is that they are only asking when both are increasing. So it's more like between 0 and 2. This is how you represent between mathematically. Between 0 and 2. That's where you have f of x and g of x increasing. I'm not sure if it makes sense there, Bantubakit. I'm not sure if you guys get it there.
Yeah, I get it.
Is it still raining that side, Hamisa?
Yes, but it decreased.
It decreased. Now, can you see that maths is powerful, Hamisa? It has the power to decrease the rain. Can you see? Bantubakit, are you still processing it, or did it make sense?
It makes sense.
It didn't make sense. Can you please repeat it?
Someone is asking for a repeat, but this is a repeat. So they want the x values whereby the graph of f and g are increasing. So we realize that along this line, and also along that line. When we look at both of these functions, we notice that in between, that's where both of them are increasing. So that means from this point on this direction, they are not both in the same direction. Can you see? The other one is going up, the other one is going down. Also on this side, the other one is going down, the other one is going up. But between these two x values, both of them are increasing, which is what they wanted to provide. So remember, they wanted the x values. What are the x values there and there? We know that the x value along this line, it is 0. Along that, it is 2. We were given as the turning point. So mathematically, when you say something is between 2 points, you write x in between. If you want to say x is between these 2 points, then you do those signs. The moment you do that, you're saying x is between, then you say 0 and 2. Utholile lapho Mhlekazi, Mfundi, uyibambile?
Angiyibambile
Okay. Mzozozo, do you allow me to sign, or do you have a question?
Yes, sir. Good night.
Hmm?
No question. Good night.
Okay, guys. I do thank you very much for joining. My name is Desmond, and I'm out.